Fantastic. So, welcome everybody. Delighted to have you here for Law and Technology at Penn to introduce you to students about opportunities that are available here. For those of you who don't know me, I am Christopher Yu. I'm the Imasogi Professor of Law and Technology, and I am, along with the next person I'm going to introduce, the co-director of what's called the Center for Technology Innovation Competition, which has become sort of the research-oriented locus of research technology and innovation-related research here at Penn. And without that, I'll introduce Paul Wagner, who's the co-director of the center, and Deputy Dean.
Hi there. Nice to see everybody here. It's great to have such a large crowd of people interested in law and technology. I hope to see many of you next semester in Introduction to IP. I guess with that, I will turn it back over.
Just wanted to make sure you had a chance to see Professor Wagner's face and to understand that he's an important part of this. Before we proceed any further, we are recording today's program, just so you know, and so be aware that by being here, you will be part of something that's being recorded. And we will have a substantive events going on throughout the year. We'll see this on the last slide, but among them is an event that we do every year at the beginning of the term on October 16th, which is called Current and Emerging Issues in the IP and Technology Law, which will happen at 4:30, but I will put that up on the slides, and we will circulate the slides to everyone who registered to attend, so you will have this information for you.
And invitations will be going out for that. So.
And we will send invitations out to the whole student body, and we actually have a CTIC newsletter, which you can go to our website and register for, which we'll send out once a month, which will give you information about all the events that we organize, in addition to the scholarship our faculty produce, our speaking engagements, so you get an idea of the scope of the things that people are doing in different ways. Anything else I forget, Caroline? Okay.
No. And we're on X, and all that is on the PowerPoint, which will circulate after the event. Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, Caroline Olson is the managing director of CTIC as well. And so those of you who get involved in the program will get to know her very well and Eileen is our communications director. So we sit next to her up front. And I'll introduce Cindy later because she'll come up there. So, all right. But most importantly, just to give you an idea, for this talk is really geared, for those of you who are upper class people, you've probably heard this before, but really geared towards incoming 1Ls, LLMs, to give you an introduction, not just to your opportunities this year, but the kinds of activities that will be available to you through your 3-year tenure here. And so I'll provide an overview, but the best place to start is with our faculty. Just so you know, we have a number of faculty affiliated with CTIC, just going through them one at a time in alphabetical order, just to nothing else. David Abrams is an empirical PhD economist who's done a great deal of work studying patent law, has a data set that allows him to ask one of the great unanswered questions, which is, what is the value of a year of a life of a patent? Cindy Dahl is the head of the Detkin Technology and Intellectual Property Law Clinic. Did I get that right? Hey, excellent. And has done, and she'll have a chance to introduce what that means to you a bit more as we go on, as I recognize since she's here. Allison Hoffman does health law, bioethics. David Hoffman, many of you have for contracts, also did our first Journal of Law and Innovation program on smart contracting and different aspects of that. Herb Hovenkamp is probably the nation's, if not the world's, leading authority in antitrust, as a particular interest how it interfaces with IP. Gus Hurwitz is the academic director of CTIC, telecom, antitrust, administrative law, cybersecurity. Gideon Parchamovsky, IP and property theory. Many of you will take for copyright and for trademark. Jennifer Rothman is the world's leading authority on something that when she started, probably everyone asked, why are you doing that? It's name, image, and likeness. And if you're following intellectual property at all, this is so hot right now you can't even touch it. And she's gotten books and blogs and websites on this. Paul Wagner has been our patent law expert for a long time, being a former Federal Circuit clerk, but is also leading the school's initiatives on how to incorporate AI into the curriculum and into teaching, and is acting in his capacity as deputy dean, and also has done a great deal on cyber law. Tels Wilkinson-Ryan co-taught the journal with Professor Hoffman on smart contracts, and many of you see what contracts, and has been involved in a number of copyright things. I do work primarily, my intellectual home is internet law, but because of that, I also do antitrust, privacy, and copyright and other things, because that's what you have to do when you do that. So the most important thing is, this is the heart of what we do, and I encourage you to get to know these faculty. One of the great privileges of being at Penn is we are actually very accessible. And we will, one of the best things I think that we do is create ties with students. So if you don't take advantage of that, it's your responsibility because I sit in office hours every week, and most of the times people don't show up until the end of the semester. And so I would say take advantage of that and get to know. All right, so there's that. So what would I say? CTIC divides the world into 7 subject matters. The last one's kind of a catch-all, which is the emerging technologies. But we do work in antitrust, intellectual property, entertainment, media law, internet and privacy law, and health sciences, life sciences law. We've now added AI. Among other things, there is an organization now here called, which we'll meet later, AI Foresight. I'm working on this. What someone told me, one of the editors of the Law Review, is that over half the submissions in the last cycle were all about AI, to the point where they stopped reading them because they'd already put as many AI articles they were in the issue. And to be honest, I will tell you, when I read most AI articles, they're not worth reading. There's a lot of more interest than there is actual contribution. We're actually I'm doing a 5-year project with Seoul National University in Korea to try to make technically implementable AI standards. There's a lot of different things about data disclosure and different aspects, which I think we can say some interesting things about. But I would say that we're basically scratching the surface on this. There's still a lot of work to be done there, and the question is how to channel it and make it well, and that's the new addition to what we're doing. And the last, emerging technologies, is where we put everything else that's so new that we don't have a category for it yet. So it's out there. We have a bunch of classes. And the ones that are listed at the top here are, for those of you who are 1Ls, are the 1L electives. There is one regulatory elective. As you probably know, in the spring we'll take a regulatory elective and a general elective. Internet law is taught as a regulatory elective. Intro to IP and privacy are taught as general electives. And most years, property is also taught as a general elective. I don't know whether that's the case this year. But if not, it's one of those things which is usually taught as a required class in most law schools, but here is taught as an elective which you can or cannot take. In addition to the upper class curriculum, we'll see antitrust, which is taught here in 2 classes, patent, copyright, trademark. These are the predominant areas of intellectual property law. But in addition, we have a wide array of, just to introduce you to different possible opportunities, artificial intelligence, intellectual property theory, cybercrime, Duncan clinics, which we'll talk about in greater length in a moment. IP corporate lawyering, national economic value, autonomous vehicles, patent litigation, social media law. I know we have another class on trade secrets, which I neglect to put up here, which is actually one of those areas of law. When I taught intro to IP, I would rush over like 2 classes, but it's actually probably more significant and important now than it's ever been. And in fact, what we're seeing is taking over a lot of areas that used to be governed by patent law and to some extent copyright law. So I would encourage you to take these classes, just to give you an idea on the first grounding. There's 2 classes I want to talk about in particular. One is called the Journal of Law and Innovation. Now, it's a weird thing to call a journal a class. You'll discover is, one of the things you'll learn if you're a 1L is that there's a journal competition right after exams in which the student-edited journals actually, you do participate in an editing exercise and submit it, and you get selected for journals. And as you know, historically, this has been one of the seminal experiences that many people find in their law school career. The Journal of Law and Innovation is not organized as a student-run journal and does not participate in the same timing of the competition. It is taught as a full-year class. In the fall, it is a faculty-led seminar on a different topic that changes every year. And in the spring, in January, we have a symposium on the theme picked for the seminar that year. And the spring semester, half of it is done as an editing experience, which is done as the journal part of the experience. So it's intended to fuse a class, instructional classroom component with a journal experience. Because it's a class, many people do 2 journals. They will do this in addition to a student-edited journal, and the writing competition for this will happen generally around spring break. And we'll have an information session for it later, and you will know well in advance of the journal competition whether you've been admitted to the Journal of Law and Innovation or not. So you can know, some students have looked at that and said, now that I know that I'm on that journal, that's the experience I want, I'm not going to do the full journal competition. Some people will choose to do both. Overloading yourself is not a great idea, but because it's in lieu of a class, the workload sort of compensates for it in both ways. And so it's been a really nice experience. To me, the best part about it is really one of those places where all the students who are interested in technology law come together over subject matter and have a wonderful discourse. You can see some of the subjects here, AI governance, copyright patent interface, smart contracts, the role of state and innovation policy, that's me, everything except intellectual property, that's like tax benefits and prizes and other things that we use to affect innovation. Innovation Time of Crisis was our COVID journal, just because it was on everyone's mind. And then the other one that's up there right now is we've done one on space and satellite law. This year's is on complexity theory and complex systems governance, and we're actually looking right now at principles of cybernetics and understanding what makes these complex phenomena, these emergent phenomena work. And we'll continue to keep working on that as we go, work through the different things. The other nice thing is you really do have a chance to collaborate with faculty in a way that you don't on the traditional journals, and that's another part of the experience that people like, right? I think that's one of the great experiences that you can have as a law and tech student, but the other one is the Deck into Intellectual Property Technology Law Clinic. And with that, I give you Professor Dalton.
Fabulous. I cannot speak as quickly as you, but I will try. Because we started a little bit late. I want to tell you about this incredible opportunity that you have in the building to actually take on real clients and do real client work in the IP and technology space. So the clinic accepts 2Ls and 3Ls. You have the chance to actually apply in your 2L fall. As an LLM, we can take one LLM each semester. There's an application for this clinic because part of what we cover are really complex scientific ventures. And so I need to make sure that I have some students in the class that are interested in that kind of work. But IP is very broad, as you all know, and I always have students in the class that are not scientifically trained. Oftentimes we will handle artists, nonprofits. We increasingly are handling questions of privacy and data and, of course, AI, because everybody, including in addition to the journals, is also starting companies that have to do with AI. That's it. Oh, just want to tell you, it is transactional. You'll probably learn a lot about the other clinics that are in the building down at the Gittes Center. We are one of 2 transactional clinics. We do handle entrepreneurs as well as the Entrepreneurial Legal Clinic does, but our questions focus completely on IP and technology issues. And so if you're interested in that, would love to talk with you or hopefully see you in the class in your 2nd or 3rd year. And I think on the next slide as well.
Just to amplify a couple things, one, we get the question all the time, can you do tech law without a technical background? I do not have a technical background. And the answer is yes. There's certain
philosophy major.
There you go. And there are certain, I won't lie to you, if you wanted to do what we call patent prosecution, which is decide what's patentable, you have to have subject matter expertise. But there are huge swaths of this which you don't require. The second thing I really want to emphasize about what Professor Dahl said is most of us come here, when I went to law school, my image of what it meant to be a lawyer came from television, which was basically litigation, these depictions of it. And second is the way we teach you in the first year. You'd think that your whole life is going to be about reading cases. And I'll be honest, I love reading cases, but not all my colleagues did. There are friends of mine who do transactional work who have not read a case in 20 years. So the funny thing is there are different experiences that you can have in transactional law that have very different uses, but more importantly also, experiential learning is a different way to learn, it's a better way to learn, and is now increasingly, to sit for certain types of bars in certain states, you have to have a certain number of experiential learning credits in order to be eligible to sit for the bar. So it serves a functional purpose, but the reason we're emphasizing it, I don't want to make confused tail with dog, the reason it's now a requirement is because we're recognizing that experiential learning is so important.
Yes,
all right.
Exactly.
So Professor Dahl not only heads the clinic, but she's also heavily involved in a lot of other credit-bearing supervised programs. With that, I hand it over to you.
Fabulous. And I think we're going to hear a little bit more about people later. We've got people here.
People.
Right, exactly. So I'll quickly introduce that. But to Professor Yu's point about experiential learning, the clinic is one place where you can get that experiential learning, but of course there are other programs as well. And I oversee a number of them, and so if you're interested in what I have to say about any of them, please do pop me an email or come by my office and we can talk about it. The first one is basically an exploration of design thinking, where it's an international competition where you go and partner law students partner with business students, and under mentorship, they solve legal problems with tech. The second one is similar, but it is domestic. It's handled out of Georgetown. And again, bringing together interdisciplinary teams around subject matter, solving legal problems with technology. The third one is actually local in Philadelphia. There's an angel investment group that is looking for students to help with their due diligence, and your role is to basically go to their meetings and with the other accredited investors, watch a lot of pitches and help to decide which of the entrepreneurial ventures deserve some funding. And so you get to actually listen to the accredited investors talk about these groups and see so many pitches that you start to think about, if you were to be in the counsel role of an entrepreneur that is seeking funding, what makes a compelling pitch and what doesn't. And then the PEOPLE program, Partners of Entrepreneurial Engineering in Penn Law, is a simulation program you'll hear more about when the PEOPLE folks introduce you to it, but it is on campus. It is a one semester credit bearing, what do you call it when it's moot court, or it's in that bucket where you're allowed to get credits, like journal credits, to basically counsel engineers at the engineering school over their fake entrepreneurial ventures. And so it is truly just getting your feet wet in terms of counseling. Unlike clinic, these are not real clients, but I oversee this program as well.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Steve. All right, so in addition, there are a number of semester-long opportunities. Actually, one that you're deeply involved in, which is Professor Dahl is our key contact at the Penn Center for Innovation. We do have interns who work there. They are a tech transfer office. And so it is one of the primary clients of the clinic. That's very important. Wistar Institute is a biomedical research institute here on campus where we have externs work consistently, and those are the ones that tend to overlap with the stuff you're doing if you need to leave. We also have relationships with organizations like the Electronic Frontier Foundation, the Internet Society, ACLU of Northern California, who regularly ask us for opportunities. The ones that are off-site are complicated in the sense that in this day and age, it's easier to do things remotely. People are much more tolerant of it. It is actually feasible to do a semester in residence outside. We've had students look into it, never had one do it, because it requires you to do a certain amount of externship credits and independent study credits and cobble together a full 12-hour minimum in order to be considered a full-time student. It does take some doing. I will talk about it more generally. We're providing you some examples of externships. There is something called the ad hoc externship program, where if anything you think of, you can propose and get approved. And I'll tell you, it's just a bunch of hoops. They almost all get approved. They just have to make sure there's an actual supervisor and work and stuff to do. So, I mean, these are the things that we know we have the relationships for, we can facilitate. You should feel free to do other things. We'll talk about it in a minute, talk about some moot court opportunities. Over the years, we've had students who done like the space moot court just because they were interested and with our support and different things. So part of this is an example of the things that we already provide, but we are open to working with you to develop whatever alternatives or whatever opportunities are interesting to you in different directions. Right. So there are, in addition to what we talked about, other innovative classes. Just so you know, that I point out to Professor Wagner teaches a patent law class, does on what we call a flipped basis, which is instead of lecturing in the classroom, you record lectures and use the scarce time in the classroom to do collaborative, cooperative activities. He does also teach a seminar which doubles as the patent law moot court competition, which is something that's very popular with a lot of students. There is, again, a moot court competition, as we mentioned. There is IP, if you're an LM student, there's an IP and technology law concentration, which you can pursue. Patent litigation by Judge Kent Jordan, who was a District of Delaware judge and then became a Third Circuit judge. He teaches this, and if you don't understand this, patent law is, I think every district court judge in the tiny District of Delaware has 300 patent cases. And it is by far one of the 2 or 3 only preferred patent venues, so it's a great opportunity. And he always takes people who are interested in patent law. There's something called the FinTech Challenge, the electives we mentioned earlier, just to give you an idea as you move through the curriculum. Right? Okay. There are some really interesting opportunities, which if you're interested, I encourage you to think about. So we actually help students who are interested in getting more of a technical founding than you have in getting a master's in computer science. There are two programs for this. One's called the MCIT, one's called the MSc. The Masters of Science and Engineering is for people who have prior undergraduate training in the discipline, and it takes a year. The MCIT is intended for people who do not have that. And we've had students who've had English degrees and economics degrees and philosophy degrees do this successfully. It will require you to take the GRE. It generally requires another year. But in a sense, if it works, if it makes sense for you, come talk to us. Is Amanda? Amanda's not here today, is she?
She's not, she
Okay.
wasn't able to be here, but Amanda Aronoff is the head of cross-disciplinary program.
This is a more detailed conversation if you're really interested, because I will say it's obviously applying for a whole other degree, has a whole application process, and it's much more elaborate. On the other hand, for the students who've done it, have found it to be transformative. My favorite quote is the first student we had to do it was a political science and Latin major. His joke was he was more qualified to be the Pope than he was to be a tech lawyer. And on the basis of using, and this is true the English major too, use this program to reinvent themselves, partly for your own skills, but partly in the minds of employers of what you can do. And I'm an old business school guy. I'm as aware, the stuff like course selection and student organization stuff, I mean, it's not just for you. It has an important signaling effect on employers about a credibility to say, oh, you want to do this, I believe you can. Why would I believe an English major could do this? You can actually have face a lot of headwinds doing that, but with the proper training and all this, it can actually enhance your career in different ways. Now, if you're not up for, and we do support that with a scholarship. If you're not up for that, there are some things that require less of a commitment. The engineering school has a certificate in engineering entrepreneurship, which our students have successfully completed, which can be done within the context of the 4-year classes here, the 3-year program. We give you the right to take 4 classes at any other unit in the school. And unlike other law schools where they make that formally available but basically strongly discourage you from doing it, because I'll be blunt, law schools, when you take a class somewhere else, your tuition goes with you. We lose money. And frankly, we pay more tuition than they do. This is even if it's a 1-for-1 exchange, this is not a net winner. But we believe in interdisciplinarity, and we really encourage our students very strongly to take full advantage of this. And another way to approach this instead of a full degree is to do something like the engineering entrepreneurship certificate, or to take selected classes in different places to fill in backgrounds that you may need or that you're interested to establish that kind of background. And so I would encourage you strongly to think about this. If you're interested in the joint degree programs, Amanda Aronoff, her contact information is here, and we'll talk about, there'll be a general slide at the end with contact information for every person we talk about today. All right. We also help students find summer public interest fellowships. Through the Toll Center, they actually fund it. We've actually support this process as well. We've had people work for a wide variety of government organizations and for public interest organizations, and you can see this as it goes. We actually have a history of people who worked in companies. This obviously isn't supported by the Toll Center, that's a public interest center, but there is a legacy of people who successfully used their first year opportunities to get companies of the type listed up here. And in fact, what you'll discover is I often find all you need is to figure out who they contacted, who they sent their resume to get started, and it's amazing how effective that can be. There is a series of things we do oriented to students. We will do a monthly program, roughly monthly program on different topics currently of interest. Right now, as we mentioned, on October 16th, we will do our introduction to the current issues of the year. It's often, a lot of it's looking at the cases around that are up in front of the Supreme Court, but it can be a good deal broader than that. That's October 16th. On November 18th, we're going to do a program on antitrust law in the new administration, featuring Herb Hovenkamp, who I mentioned earlier, and Aviv Nevo. It was an interdisciplinary professor jointly appointed between the economics department and the business school, who just stepped down as chief economist of the Federal Trade Commission, which is one of the 2 main antitrust agencies, to talk about this. And we're talking about name, image, likeness, different possibilities throughout the year. And if you subscribe to our email list, you'll see them as they come up. We're talking about one for possibly on space in the spring, just because that's become so hot as well, and a new subject matter that people aren't really focusing on. We will also have career speakers around lunchtime. We will have them periodically. This is all a bit of labor of love. I remember when I was you, I did not know what I wanted to do, and I wasn't going to find out taking contracts, torts, and civil procedure. So this is my chance to actually get you to talk to people who were you not that long ago, and how they got there, what they're doing. What does it mean to be a tech lawyer in a transactional standpoint versus a litigation standpoint, in a private firm versus in-house versus work for the government versus a nonprofit organization? And we'll try to introduce you to a variety of kinds of people to expand your ideas, to introduce you to the possibilities of how to lead a career over your whole life. And lastly, we will do a lot of events co-sponsored with student organizations. If you're active in student organizations, happy to have those conversations with you. And speaking of student organizations, should we just do, it's in a different order of the slides, so we'll just get back to that. I mentioned the upcoming events, October 16th, October 18th, November 18th. Also, the Journal of Law and Innovation, our conference will be on January 30th. These are the things you have in the calendar now. Obviously, we'll add more, the career lunches and the like. If you just keep your eyes open, you'll see it come along. All right? There is research being done by all of us. This is just by no means exhaustive. These are some of the things we're up to right now. I will lead a project trying to connect more people, to close the digital divide, connecting people in the world. There is a lot of interest in antitrust and digital platforms. Empirics of patent law, private law theory and intellectual property. This is a new thing coming on, rights of publicity, trademark. If you have interest in any of these, please talk to Caroline and she can help help you navigate this process to some extent to figure out. She has some idea of what faculty need. I will tell you, don't be offended if you ask me if I say no. There was one year I needed someone who spoke French. As a very specific, particular need, and you can have great skills and be hugely qualified, but if what you do doesn't overlap with what a particular faculty member needs at that time, it's a misfit. It's not going to be a good experience for anybody. It's just a question, but on the other hand, there may be more fits than we know of, and we are happy to explore those opportunities for you. Those of you who are 1Ls, probably not this semester. You've got enough to focus on more so than ever. And in general, the standard law school's policy is to encourage 1Ls first semesters to spend time getting acclimated to law school in this and not to take on additional things. In general, I've rarely worked with second semester 1Ls. I generally work with them as upper level students, but it has happened on occasion, a rare occasion. All right. In addition, we have a series of faculty events, some of which are open to the public, some of which are only on invitation only, based on an invitation only basis. We do an annual roundtable building law and computer science, which has been a labor of love of mine. We do a copyright scholarship roundtable, a trademark scholarship roundtable, a global patent conference in Japan. We annually sponsor a junior faculty forum for people doing law work at the intersection of law and STEM. We do an annual AI standards conference with Seoul National, as I mentioned before. Some of these are opportunities available to students, some of them are not. If you're interested, we can have the conversation and help you get educated. And then lastly, student organizations, and I turn it over to Caroline.
Okay, this is going to be very informal, but student leaders of various tech groups were kind enough to agree to come and chat about their respective groups. Anyway, so we're going to go alphabetical order by the name of the organization. We'll start with the AI Foresight Initiative. And Ava, I hope I pronounced your last name correctly. Occhialini? Occhialini, yeah. Anyway, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us. Should we come up now?
Whatever, yeah, that'd be great, yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Ava Occhialini and I'm a third year here.
Hi everyone, my name is Yuan Hong. I'm a 2L.
And I'm the president of Penn Carey Law for this academic year. And we are currently in the process of planning our first events, gearing up for fundraising and expanding our board this semester. In the past, we've done events with law firms talking about the application of AI in legal practice, with faculty talking about the ethical implications of AI use. And we've also had a couple events with CEOs and founders that have been really insightful. And this year, we're really hoping to take a very cross-disciplinary, cross-school approach to expose students to sort of the wider AI ecosystem that there is here at Penn, and potentially to connect students with more practical training or professional development opportunities as well, just to get insight into how AI is and might be used in practice. So in the coming days, you'll see on the docket information about applying to be a member of the board. So definitely keep an eye out for that if you're interested, and you can always reach out to our email for any additional questions. It's aifi.pencarylaw@outlook.com, and that'll also be on the relevant student affairs websites. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Excuse me. Art, I don't think I need a microphone.
There's podiums.
All right, we're going to hear from the Entertainment and Sports Law Society. Brian, I'm not even going to try. Brian and Greg.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Hi everyone, I'm Brian Ebarglin and this is Greg Drafkin. We're both 3Ls here. We're co-presidents of the Entertainment and Sports Law Society. We're here because a lot of the things that entertainment and sports lawyers do kind of intersects with a lot of IP, AI, and media things, and obviously name, image, and likeness, which was brought up earlier, is blowing up right now. We bring in lawyers from those industries to come and talk about what they do, how to be successful in those industries, and kind of just teach us about like their path, what they did, and like how to break into the industry. We also sponsor competitions similar to the ones mentioned earlier that are a lot of like moot court / negotiation competitions regarding different sports like basketball arbitration or baseball arbitration, as well as like content creator contract negotiations and things like that. We do a lot of great events and a lot of social events as well. So I'll hand it off to Greg to talk more about how to get involved.
Thanks, guys. So I just want to share a little bit about what we have planned already for this semester. Tomorrow we have our first programming of the year. We're bringing in an attorney named Sam Katz who does specifically NFL disability. There's a concussion settlement that was done years ago and that Penn actually has a pretty close tie with. For those of you who have Professor David Hoffman, he's one of the special masters for that settlement. So we have an attorney coming in to speak about that. In addition, this semester we'll be doing panels on athlete investing as well as entertainment boutique law firms. Our Vice President of Entertainment, Adam Masters, can't believe that. And then the biggest thing that we've been saying to all our 1Ls so far, who we've met so far, is tell us what you're interested in. We're super excited to get to know what you all want to be seeing, hearing from. We're very lucky to have an incredible alumni network that Brian and I have been able to take full advantage of, and we just want to share that with you all and make sure everybody comes out working with the things that they're passionate about. So 1L rep applications coming out later this week. That'll be on the docket. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, Internet Tech and Society Collective. Adam, wearing a couple of hats, I guess. And it's Macher?
Macher.
Macher. All right.
Hello.
Leave to me.
Hey everyone, so I'm the Vice President of the Internet Tech and Society Collective. As you can see, there's a lot of overlap between all the tech orgs, which was also Professor Yu was saying, where a lot of them people are part of multiple orgs. We're kind of like the more general tech career focused club, so we organize a lot of panels on like careers in tech. So last year we brought a lot of lawyers who work in various tech industries from across the US to talk about their pathways to tech, to talk about maybe if they don't have a background in tech, how they got into that. There's a lot of overlap with the journal and with the journal and a lot of other clubs, as as a few other people have mentioned. And yeah, it's just kind of a more general org. We kind of try to be like a little hub for it, and then also plan events with the other orgs as well, and have a lot of overlap in that way. So if you're interested at all in a career in tech, it's like a good one. We're gonna have one labs really soon, and yeah.
Great, thank you so much, Adam. All right, Journal of Law and Innovation, you heard from Professor Yu about the journal, yeah, but you're going to hear from one of the co-editors-in-chief, Mateen Alakani, yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Mateen. I think there's nobody better suited to speak about JLI than Professor Yu. He already did a great job. So I'll add a little bit about the student experience. I think that JLI provides many of the benefits of being on a journal. You go through the editing process in the spring as we publish our annual volume. It also provides an in-classroom learning experience from Professor Yu and from other academics. And it provides an opportunity to kind of structure interactions with CTIC and many of the professors you saw on the screen at the beginning. And so I think you get kind of the best of many worlds from Journal of Law and Innovation. And so stay tuned for it this coming spring.
Great, okay, people to talk about people. Got Beatrice?
Someone's coming. Does that-
And Nicholas, yeah.
Right, not here. Right.
They
We heard about
confirmed.
people from.
We're also here to talk about HLAB. I think we got skipped.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I did. Are you Alyssa?
I'm Alyssa.
Oh, hi Alyssa.
Come on down.
And you're Jordan, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Health Law Association at Penn. And this is Alyssa and Jordan.
Hi guys, yeah, we're with the Health Law Association at Penn. If you have any interest at all in, there's a big field in the intersection between science and the law. We try to really connect students with resources and a community of students interested in that space, whether it's litigation or transaction or regulatory work. There's a ton of stuff you could do in that field, whether it's in-house or working at a firm on health-related cases. We would love to have your involvement in the society. We'd love to get in touch with you. Our application is currently open for 1L and LLM reps. It's on the docket. And I'm going to pass it off to Jordan. She's going to talk a bit about some upcoming events that we have.
Yeah, so currently we have an event September 30th. It's a lunch talk with Dr. Isa Satoshi. He's the Global Minister for Japan for Health, Welfare, and Labor. We also have an upcoming event in the spring. I don't know if you guys are potentially interested in getting jobs. I heard you guys might be, but we have a huge spring networking dinner, which is a great opportunity for you to get in front of attorneys at major law firms, health policy organizations, and nonprofits. It's our biggest event, and our 1L reps and LM reps are instrumental in planning it, talking to those attorneys and putting it together. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, definitely apply to be a 1L rep or get involved in HLAP, and you can attend that networking dinner in the spring. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Jordan. Thanks, Alyssa. I love your logo, by the way. It's very clever there with the gavel and that. All right. Nicholas, Beatrice? No, people? Okay. Then we've got Penn Cary Law Antitrust Association, Ann Tyler Moses and Joanna Murphy.
Just me today, and Tyler.
Oh, Ann Tyler, this is Ann Tyler, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm Ann Tyler. I'm going to be the president of the Antitrust Association this year, and I also saw Swaha is on our board, so you can ask either of us about the club. The group exists to create opportunities to learn about antitrust and meet experts and practitioners in the field. Our first event is going to be this Wednesday at noon. There's an Antitrust 101 panel with an alumni working in the industry. And we have a symposium in the spring. We also lead groups down to DC for the ABA Antitrust Section Fall Forum, which is at the beginning of November, and spring meeting in March or April, which are both really fun, especially the spring meeting is kind of a worldwide convention for all antitrust people. And we'll have a bunch of speakers and events coming up too. For me personally, being involved in the club last year was a really great way for me to learn about antitrust and figure out what I want to do with my career. So that was a benefit to my whole life really, but also the job recruiting process. I got exposure to the antitrust bar and met a lot of practitioners. So to plug one more time, we have the panel Wednesday, and we'll also be soliciting 1L board rep applications.
Great, thank you so much. All right, Andrew, sitting patiently in the front row, Penn Intellectual Property Group, PIPG.
Hello, I'm Andrew Borkdorf. I'm a 3L, and I'm one of the co-presidents of PIPG this year. So we cover all intellectual property. Someone might tell you it's primarily patent law, but we also do copyright, trademark, and name, image, and likeness events. Some of that in collaboration with the Entertainment and Sports Law Society. We will also be taking applications for 1L reps. And we do events with attorneys, firms, and also just connecting students so that they can understand how to get into IP careers. And we also do a symposium in the spring, which is fun way to meet both students and practicing attorneys and professors.
I didn't introduce Conrad. Is Conrad?
Conrad's not here today.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. I figured he would have come on up if he was. All right, last but not least is the Penn Law STEM Club. Jenna Park? Jenna?
Not here.
Not
All right.
here? Okay,
All right, thank you very much.
And we are going to send around the PowerPoint, which does have contact information for the student group. So
So just two thoughts. One, specifically about the student groups. One, I strongly encourage you to get involved for two primary reasons. One, don't underestimate the importance of signaling your interest to employers. And student organizations is one of the primary ways. Student organizations, course selections, summer internships, term time internships, they taught us this in business school. In addition to pre-law school employment and other things, journal topics, major writing. And if you really want to hammer in a direction, particularly if you're not that strong, the more arrows you point in the same direction, the better. Second, I strongly encourage all the 1Ls here to find ways to make friends with 2Ls and 3Ls, because they are the single best source of advice to you about how to navigate this process. And the best way to do it to me is the student organizations. That's where the upper class people and the upper class students and the 1Ls meet. So I strongly encourage you to think about it, find something you're interested in, explore it, and to join it, because I think we're blessed to have a really strong set of student organizations that would take full advantage. All right. Last two slides. One is, there's pretty pictures. Contact information for all of the faculty. You'll get this in your slides when we send them around. The other thing is contact information for all the student organizations. So if you need to find out any of them, you can do it this way. What I will wrap by saying is I really have spent the last 15 plus years of my life trying to create the kind of experience for students interested in law and technology here at Penn, an experience that is unlike what you could get at any other law school. And there's a lot of places where it's student-oriented stuff where there's no faculty involvement, there's other programs which are faculty-driven, no student involvement, and to me those are missed opportunities to create a rich community which combines research and teaching and co-curriculars and everything in a very integrated way. Has been a huge ambition and a lot of effort. I hope you're the beneficiaries of it and you have a sense of these things. And I hope that you will come join us at many of these events. Whether you're tipping your toe in or diving in with both head first, we have whatever program at whatever level is available for you. And we encourage you, and I hope to see you at future events. With that, we'll stop.